Okay, so the next modern horror film I want to review that I enjoy is The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Or, let's see. This actually came out last year at the end of 2016. I think it was in November, December. I'm not sure, but it came out late 2016. Uh, I'm not sure how to pronounce the director's name. I think it's Andre Overdahl, but I think he's Finnish. And he made a movie called Troll Hunter, which I never seen. I'm not sure what else he directed, but based off of this movie, he has some good capabilities as a director. Um, I heard about this movie last year. There was a lot of buzz about it, but I'm kind of like in the boat. Like if if a movie's overhyped, I'm like, well, it can't really be that good, or if it, if it's good, it's not like mind blowing, kind of like with Get Out. But I did like Get Out, and I did like this one, so there's something. Um, I heard about it, and I was like, well, I guess at the time it was only on the festival circuit because it came out. I watched it earlier this year on VOD, and then of course I bought the Blu-ray. But so I didn't really do any research about it. I'm kind of like that person. Like I go into movies cold. I don't like watching trailers and stuff because it reveals too much. But anyways, I'll just tell you this: this movie was not what I was expecting. So the movie's about a father and son who own a mortuary, or I think that's what it's called. They they're working on this body, and it's like there's a lot of like talk about like forensic, not like I guess who would you call the proper term? I don't know if it's forensic. I guess it's forensics. I don't know. It's like they're looking at dead bodies to find out how the person died and stuff. And like you could tell like the father is trying to train the son because the son doesn't, he knows a lot but he doesn't know, but he thinks he knows a lot but he doesn't. And he's like, oh, and the son's like, they're after this, he's like, dad, I have a date tonight. And he's like, I gotta leave at, I think it was like 8 or not, I gotta leave at 8. And the father's like, okay. Father gets upset and he's like, Dad, I know. He's like, if you want me to stay, I'll stay. And he's like, no. He's like, you can go ahead. You need to live your own life. And so he's leaving, the cops bring in this body, and it's like in perfect condition and stuff. Because earlier in the movie, this is how this movie opens up. They go to this crime scene, and once they go inside, there's like blood everywhere. There's dead bodies everywhere, like brain splatter. Like it's like really gory. And then they go down into the basement, and they find the body, her body, and on the back, um, half like buried half in the ground, and it's in perfect condition. And they're like, well, what the hell happened here? So they take the body to the mortuary, and they're like, well, we got this body here, and we need you to figure out the cause of death by next morning. And they're like, okay. So the his girlfriend comes, and he's like, well, I'm gonna stay here and help my dad dissect this body and figure out what happened. And she gets upset, but she's fine with it, and she leaves. Once they start, uh, once the body gets there, like just a lot of weird stuff just starts happening. There's like the radio keeps like switching on and off, and it keeps going to the song called "Open Up Your Heart and let the sun shine in." There's a lot of weird noises, and like flies and stuff. It's just like a really like just a bunch of weird stuff happens. It's not like extreme, but there's just like subtle hints about like what's like there's something wrong with this body. And like every time they keep cutting in, get deeper into the body, like a lot more stuff starts happening. It starts getting more extreme. Like they start cutting in the body and starts storming out of nowhere, and it basically turns into a haunted house movie in a morgue. And the actors in it, I actually enjoy it, and that's another cool thing about this movie. It's kind of like a stage play. There's only two main actors in it, playing off each other. Sometimes the girlfriend comes in later, but she's not a main character. And the guy who plays the father is Brian Cox, which you've seen him. You might have seen him in a lot of movies. I best know him from he played Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter, and then Emil Hirsch plays the son, and he's been in a lot of movies too. And I mainly know him from Into the Wild, and they're right here on the back. Sorry, but yeah. So a lot of weird stuff starts happening, and it gets kind of confusing after. I kind of got confusing, and I don't know. I'll probably spoil it too, because like I said, it came out at the end of 2016, so it's been out for a while. You find out that this body, because they're like when they're trying to figure out what's going on, they think, oh, because like her bones are broken on the inside, but there's no like marks on the outside to show like her bones are broken. There's some stuff like with her genitals and stuff that were like all scarred up and all that. And they're thinking, oh, maybe she was a sex slave, or maybe she was raped or something. They don't know. And then later on, like when they start digging deeper in there into her body, there's like herbs stuffed in her. There's like a piece of paper with like cryptic, like ancient writing on it. And you find out that this body was a witch, actually. And I was like, wow, I was not expecting that. Like, I thought this movie was gonna be completely different. I didn't know exactly what it was gonna be. I said I thought maybe like the son was a serial killer or something, or the father was, or it was like one of their victims. And then I was like, wow, I did not expect it to be, um, to be a supernatural. And there is supernatural elements in it, but I didn't expect it to be about a witch. And it did it pretty good. I know a lot of people hate the ending, and I thought the ending was kind of dumb too. But I mean, it doesn't really hurt the rest of the movie, because there's a lot of movies I liked, like 10 Cloverfield Lane. I liked up until the last 10 minutes of the movie. But it didn't ruin the movie for me. Um, I was thinking maybe it was the father. I don't know why I thought maybe one that was a serial killer or something. Because like the father acts like really weird. He's basically depressed because his wife died, and he's dealing with grief, and all he has is his son left, and he don't want his son's growing up, and he don't want him to leave, and yeah, I don't know. And then I was like, maybe the son's a serial killer. I don't know. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie, and there's a scene too with the bell. The Neil Hirsch's girlfriend comes to visit him. She goes, she's trying to act all, like I'm not afraid of anything kind of thing. So he's like, open. So he was like, Brian Cox character is like, oh, go ahead, open one of the cooler doors, where the bodies are stored at. And she opens one, and she asks, because like there's a sheet over over one of the corpse's face, where you can tell like there's a blast in its head or something, because it's like folded in. And then he was like, oh, you don't want to look at that. He's like, that's pretty, that's gonna be nasty, and then or it's gonna give you nightmares or something like that. And he was like, no, but they pull out one and there's a bell wrapped around its foot. And Brian Cox, and she asks, well, why is there a bell wrapped around its foot? And Brian Cox's character is like, oh, back in the old days, which is true, to see if a body was actually dead or alive, they would tie a bell around it, and if it started moving, that means the person was still alive. And then I guess like something happens, he moves it, and like the bell starts ringing, she starts freaking out, and he's like, and that's probably another reason why too. I was like maybe he's just a serial killer or something. I don't know. He just acted really weird in the movie. But yeah, I wasn't expecting like much with it, but I was kind of like, I don't know, it kind of like surprised me because I wasn't like what I thought didn't happen. It was totally different. I liked how it was set in the morgue or the mortuary. It goes like you never really see horror movies set. That's where it's set in a mortuary or a morgue, and I felt it fit really well with the atmosphere. I like the some of the effects they used, and the song. That song's really creepy. You can look it up on YouTube. It's called "Open Up Your Heart and Let the Sun Shine In." But yeah, that's my review.